They know how to annoy the Scots, don't they? Governments, that is. Now, this is not a necessary attack on Labour, but I do feel this is a little bit ill thought out and disappointing that they haven't really done, well, proper research and looked into this properly, because the idea of building dams on the Lochs in Scotland, such as Loch Ness, even considering Loch Ness, is madness. It's going to damage biodiversity, fish stocks, spawning salmon, for instance, farm salmon as well. It's not going to be good, no. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, I understand why they need it, because, well, we have periods of high drain, we have, well, power consumption at night times as well, and the solar might not be producing, or the wind might not be blowing, so we do need to balance the supply. Anyway, while you're here, please boop the old like button, helps the channel, you know. Yeah, they do need to balance the supply, I get that. But you see those things behind me, those solar panels? Well, they're providing local production. Electricity here that is being fed to the grid, so it's getting used locally. So you know what's going to happen, don't you, with these, well, effectively hydro batteries, because that's basically what they want to use it for storage of energy, you know, kinetic energy or hydro energy, just like they do in Wales. I can't remember the name of the site, but there's a site in Wales where they pump the water up when it's cheap electricity, and then to the top of the reservoir and let it go through the turbines at periods of peak demand. It's quite clever, really. But it still doesn't make much sense. Now, they've been talking about pylons a lot, haven't they, as well? Getting power from the north to the south, etc. More pylons, more steel. In the name of, well, reducing or going net zero. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see this working. Now, going net zero is a commendable aim. That really is, and we need to. But the idea that we're going to be building pylons, like say, out of steel that we're going to have to import, probably from China, who's going to be pumping shitloads of CO2 out with all their coal-fired power stations, or maybe even India, since Tata at Port Talbot has been shut down. And yeah, they say they're going to build a new furnace, you know. New furnace. Electric furnace. Sounds great, doesn't it? Yeah, except you can only melt down already smelted steel, already, you know, recycled steel. That's all it can do. Probably won't have enough of it to build all those pylons. So we'd be mining iron ore anyway, but not necessarily in the UK, or importing it into the UK would be steel from China. Now, they did say 2028 they're going to be building this new furnace, but it's now been delayed till 2032. All those jobs are lost, and there isn't the opportunities in Port Talbot for those people who lost their jobs. So they're going to be long-term unemployed, probably. None of this makes, I keep saying this, doesn't make any sense. Local supply. That's what we should be looking at. Provide the power for your region, and if that region requires a balanced load, provide the balanced load in that region, whether it be batteries or hydro or whatever. You know, the thing is, I don't understand why we don't even do more hydro. Coastal hydro. Tidal generators. There's always tides. The water's constantly moving, day and night. So why are we doing wind? Is it because it's cheaper? Maybe the technology's more advanced? Probably because it's been about much longer. But this idea that we're going to be building Lochs is just going to pee off the Scots even more. To the point they already feel that they're being undermined by Westminster and they hope things will get a little bit better with the Labour Party, but still it's very much of the same. And when Keir Starmer got into power, he did his rounds, he went to Scotland and told them how great the new government's going to be. He went to Wales, told them how great the new government's going to be. And then they tell, Rachel Reeves tells the country that Scotland hasn't been spending their money properly, just to annoy the Scots. That's what it feels like to me. And now they're going to be building dams, which is actually also part of their heritage and tourist industry. And what about Nessie? Be all stressed on Nessie would be. That water's much deeper now. Well, Ed Miliband is unlocking billions of pounds worth of investment to build dams across Britain. So it's not just going to be in Scotland. But remember, Scotland is, well, whether it be the oil or whether it be the wind turbines, they produce pretty much the majority of our electricity. Yes, we have got them on the east coast as well, and on the west coast and the south coast, but it's considerable amount of power that's been produced in Scotland. Yeah, they pay more for the electricity than people do in England. So we have to work this out, not just logically, but also politically, because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is you're going to pay the Scots even more. If you don't want them to have their own independence and go for another referendum, you need to get them on side. Now, people who know me already know that I believe that Scotland needs to leave the United Kingdom. I do. I think it's for their best interests now. Consecutive governments have pretty much shouted all over Scotland. They really have. And spiel the same lies again and again and again. Without any consideration that the people of Scotland have free prescriptions and the people of Scotland have free education for their kids. Of course they're going to be spending more money. They're spending more money because on the people. Doesn't that make sense? Why else I know SNP struggled in the last election, but they're still there. I just feel it's just so well thought out. I really do. I don't want Scotland to leave the United Kingdom, but I think they have to. I think they have to for their own sake. And I understand their desire to do so. I really do. I know people here in England might have you traitor and all that. It's not our Scotland. It's a country. The country is the Scots' country. You could argue that Wales as well. It's their country, even though they say they've been infiltrated, by English migrants. So a string of giant dams are to be built across Britain's mountain landscapes after Ed Miliband offered developers billions of pounds in potential support for the project. So there's a way of strengthening the country's ability to store energy. Well, I think you should be doing what we're doing here in France. Build more of these. It's been forced by the government on the supermarkets not having to do these, but in a certain period of time, if they've got over 80 car parking spaces. And do you know what? They lapped it up because the buyback tariffs, they're quids in. They're making money. So why would they care? Patrons such as myself, we're happier because in the middle of the summer we could come here, park a car under the and the car didn't heat up. It's a no-brainer. Now these, obviously because there are supermarkets all over the country, are popping up absolutely everywhere. And good. I'm pleased that they are. No one's complaining about them. No one's saying, oh, crikey, they're an eyesore because it's on the flipping car park. We're not destroying biodiversity. We're not chopping down trees so we can run pylons through. No. We're not having to forge shitloads of steel to make the sections to make the pylons. No. And huge amounts of concrete for every single pylon. There's all the footings. Then all the copper for all the cabling, and they already said we've got a copper shortage in the UK. Doesn't this make sense? To push for local supply. At the very least, it will lighten the load elsewhere. Oh well, anyway, what do you reckon? Do you agree with Ed Miliband's concept of building dams across the Lochs in Scotland? Because I don't. No. Anyway, please leave your comments down below and beat the old like button, and because I do read the comments, but you probably already know if you're a regular to the channel. But we're also doing a rewilding here in France, where we're planting 1,000 trees on 2 hectares of land. And there's a link down below if you're interested. And what we're doing is, people who you make a little donation, we'll plant a tree on your behalf, and I'll make the sign to grow the tree. It could be maybe a loved one, or a pet, or have you, or even a gift for Christmas. Anyway, it's time for me to go, so say toodaloo, I'm getting funny looks from people walking past. That I am. Toodaloo.